Hello again. My name's Gabe Zollner. Notice the hat. Notice the sign behind me. Right there. So, people that do what I do, some of them have companies that sell survival food. All that's going to do is prolong the inevitable. And if you're the only one on the block that has survival food, if you don't have a way to protect it, how long do you think you're going to have that survival food? Some folks that do what I do have tea companies sponsoring them. What good's that going to do if you don't have a way to protect whatever you have? I'm going to attach a link to my website that's under construction. You can go right to Henry. You can go right to their website. You can take a look at what they have to offer. You can also donate if you choose to donate to the channel without having to go through calling PayPal. But that's not what this is about. I posted a video, "This Can't Possibly Be." When I got it back, it had 3,575 views, 325 thumbs up, and 9 thumbs down. And in that video, I talked about that peaceful religion, Islam, and the number of attacks that have taken place, broken down to where they took place and what transpired as a result of the attack as far as the number of dead people. One of my viewers sent me a little message. Gabor Zollner, you must read this. United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs plans to confiscate guns. Report that. Here is the document. I'm going to attach the actual document itself, but I'm going to read as to what it has to say. And this was posted on August the 5th, 2013. Another reason why we have to do what Donald Trump said we have to do. Remember when he said that the United Nations needs to go? They don't solve problems, they create problems. And you want to ask yourself a question. The countries that are part of the United Nations, many of them are under attack. And who's protecting those countries? Well, we are. So here we are, we're protecting those countries that want to take our ability to protect ourselves. Another reason for a Henry. UNODA, United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs, Disarmament Commission, Civilian Weapons Confiscation Study Group, New York, 31st July 2013. The issue of military-grade weapons in the hands of civilian looms ever larger in the face of global implementation of 22/Agenda 21 by member nations. In particular, the United States of America has an estimated 500 million weapons in the hands of its civilian population. I want to give a special shout out to Barack Hussein Obama. He helped that number achieve what it's achieved. This is not just a static problem. It is a massive dynamic problem for the process of confiscation, as there will be those who refuse to surrender their arms. You're looking at one of those. You know, one thing, I'm never too far from one of these, ever. I walk around with one of these. I go into banks with one of these. I go into bars that aren't posted. I don't drink when I'm in bars that aren't posted, but I go in. I don't go anywhere except into a government building, a police station, and schools. conclusion of discussions by the CWCSG led to the adoption of a proposed agenda to begin the process for introducing to member nations a framework by which they can begin confiscating of national laws to disarm civilians within their borders through a graduated process. So what they're saying is they don't want to do it all of a sudden because they know what will happen. Within the discussion framework, we've identified several problem areas that must be addressed. They are: 1. Classification of military-grade weapons to be made illegal for possession. Well, they've already done that. Whacked out state of California, you can't have a magazine larger than, I think it is 10. Those magazines that are large have to be pinned. You can't have a gun or a weapon that has a pistol stock. You can't have a gun that has, they're just out of their minds. A lot of gun manufacturers stopped selling guns in California because the restrictions are too severe. All right, let me go back. 2. Creation of programs to provide reasonable compensation for voluntary surrender of said arms. So they're going to use taxpayers' money to buy back guns from those that want to return those guns. So you're going to have people stealing guns to sell them. Codification of laws to begin the restricting and strict licensing of concealable firearms. 4. Codification of laws to begin the restricting and strict licensing of hunting-grade firearms. So now they want to have you go get a license to have a gun to go hunting with. And then you got to get a hunting license as well. Codification of laws to restrict the sale of and possession of ammunition and components to manufacture ammunition. All right, so they've already done that in California. You can't buy weapons for ammunition without having registered. And then they know exactly what kind of ammunition you're buying, whether it's 9s, 45s, 357s, 300s, whatever. And they also know the quantity, and they also know when you purchase those. And you have to sign up for the program. So you have to register, and you have to pay to register. Again, it's dinero. Always comes back to dinero. And they're going to do the same thing for components. Right now, in certain states, I guess that is a requirement, but not where I live. 6. Finally, codification of laws to completely makes and all firearms illegal to own. All right, so now they're saying that they're going to do it gradually, and then on 6, they're going to say it's illegal to own any firearm. Possesses or use outside of military and law enforcement usage. So no one can have a firearm. Like England. You think that's sort of slowed down the murder rate in England? Huh? Creation of the United Nations Police Task Force with the specific mission of assisting member nations with the collection of weapons from civilian hands. These member nations are interesting, like Saudi Arabia, who heads up the Human Rights Task Force. The CWCSG will submit its findings and final recommendations once we have created the codification framework for member nations for full review by the Office of the Secretary General. Now, I assume that that's already taken place, because again, this was done in 2013. So I'm going to go do some Googling, see if I can find out as to whether or not the findings and the final recommendations have been submitted to the Office of the Secretary General. If I do, I'll let you know. If you come across it, let me know, and I'll let my subscribers and viewers know. Folks, they haven't given up. Now, I don't know if President Trump's even aware of this, but hopefully he will be. You might want to send him a copy of this video Thanks for listening. Let me know what you think. We know what the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs thinks, don't we? Question now is, what do you think?